Welcome to Sacrilegious Discourse.
For this is what the Sovereign Lord says.
Why do you need prophets to tell people who you are and what you want?
If you can justify everything that the God of the Bible has done, then you can justify any of your behavior.
A lot of this mentality is trickling into what is now mainstream right-wing Christianity.
I am capable of empathy greater than this God of the Bible.
This is a Bible that they tell kids. This is the good Lord. This is the good book. He is fantasizing about murder, mass murder.
Head over to sacrilegiousdiscourse.com right now to find out how to leave us a review or support us on Patreon.
Hey there, sinners and saints. It's your favorite Bible-bashing duo from Sacrilegious Discourse, and we need your help.
That's right, folks. We're raising funds for some heavenly equipment and a studio that doesn't sound like it's in the depths of hell.
Our current setup, let's just say it's more apocalypse than audiophile.
So if you want to hear us dissect the Bible without the background noise of demonic squirrels, chip in a few bucks.
We're aiming for $5,000 to upgrade our audio and build a studio worthy of blasphemous banter.
Donate today and help us spread the good word of atheism.
You can find a link right on our homepage, sacrilegiousdiscourse.com. Every dollar counts.
Even if it's from your collection plate. Husband!
Wife!
Guess what happened to us?
We didn't do an episode?
No, we finished Amos.
Oh, that bit, yeah. No, we finished Amos.
But that's not what we're here to talk about.
And then we skipped
today.
a couple of days. But, here we are. We finished Amos.
And we're doing a Q&A.
We're doing a Q&A, but this is not like the wrap-up one. This is the one over the actual chapters we read, right?
Yeah, chapters 6 through 9.
Okay.
Yeah.
You ready to get into this?
I mean, am I?
Yes, you are.
Yes, I am.
All right, let's do this.
Okie dokie. All right, we are here to do a wrap-up.
Yeah.
Just
yeah,
kidding.
We are.
It's not a wrap-up. It's a Q&A.
Oh, yeah. What the fuck? You're just throwing me all off here.
And you agreed.
Well, I just assumed you wouldn't, say the wrong thing. So.
And I assumed that you would correct me when I did.
Well,
Shame on both of us.
I didn't expect to have my correcting hat on the first, 10 seconds of the podcast. So
3, sir.
Yeah,
3
seconds. My bad.
Yeah, we're doing the Q&A over chapters 6 through 9 of Amos.
Amos, yeah.
The book which we have finished, and I just keep being so excited to get to the wrap-up. But no, we're doing a Q&A.
Yes, we're doing a Q&A.
Chapter 6 starts out with whoa to the pride of Jacob.
Yeah.
And the destruction of Israel. Okay?
Okay.
So here's the thing. Whereas chapter 5 was condemning the conduct of worship in Israel without justice. Mm-hmm. In chapter 6, we're taken from the public worship of the people to the private banquets of the rich.
Okay.
But only in order to have their security and extravagance contrasted with the pestilence, the war, and the captivity that are rapidly approaching.
I see. So you guys are living in real fancy stuff now, but it's about to get not good for you.
You better enjoy those grapes and those bonbons or whatever.
Because shit be coming.
Yeah. I mean, it's always coming because it's God.
It's right.
Right?
Obviously.
So Israel's leaders deceive themselves that the nation is secure. They live prosperously and see no possibility of any immediate crisis. Because they're like, what? Things
I call bullshit on that. It's okay. To say that they don't see any crisis on the horizon with these warring factions out there seems a little over the top when you're saying that they don't have any idea. But to live, the way you live in the meantime is also not unusual. Hey, well, they're coming, but still going to have my parties.
I'm going to push back on that.
Okay.
Because we literally just lived through people in today with social media even not having a fucking clue the difference between Harris and Trump, right? They had no idea what's going on. They're not paying attention to the news. They don't know.
Okay.
And they're just living their lives. They're going to work. They're going out to the movies, whatever the fuck they're doing that lets them not be watching the news.
Right.
To where...
Oblivious.
Oblivious.
Yeah. Right.
Choicefully choosing oblivious. And that's what these people are doing. They might have the opportunity and means to know better because they are rich.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Right.
They have grapes and shit, right?
Yeah, grapes.
They're laying on their fucking couches and,
right.
whatever else we read in chapter 5 that I can't remember.
Yeah.
Right? So they have the ability to know better, but
they choose not to.
Right. So that's my take on it.
Okay.
So when you say, oh, they might not know, I'm like, yeah, willful ignorance.
Okay.
It cannot be excused in my opinion.
There's no way to actually know, but yeah, okay. It does sound plausible also that way. So.
Well, you were the one saying that, oh, I think they knew, and I'm saying maybe they chose not to know.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Either way sounds good.
Okay.
I think that's a valid reason.
Oh my God, I think I might have just won an argument with you. Wow. That's so great.
Somebody out there notate it.
Yeah, it feels really good.
Mark it down in the notes.
I feel like that was a strong argument I had, though. Okay. And I got to fuck with Trump. Nice.
Right. It's like a double win.
I know, right?
Yeah.
All right. So Amos compares Israel to her pagan neighbors. Remember when he's like, fuck those, fuck these, fuck them.
Yeah.
All the nations suck.
Right.
Reproving his people for indulging themselves in luxurious ease and for making alliances with their powerful, idolatrous neighbors. Okay. And that takes us, we're going to start with verse 2. Go to Calneh and look at it. Go from there to Great Hamath and then go down to Gath in Philistia. Are they better off than your two kingdoms? Is their land larger than yours? And we were like, what the fuck is a Calneh? What's a Hamath? What's a Gath? And what? Why? What? Do you remember?
Right, yeah.
Okay. So Calneh is an ancient city founded by Nimrod.
Ooh,
right?
Nimrod, he's back.
I know.
Huh?
He always pops up when you least expect it.
Yeah, that's what Nimrods do.
That is true. That is true. So Calneh is an ancient city founded by Nimrod in the land of Shinar after the flood, likely located somewhere in the southern part of Mesopotamia between the modern-day cities of Baghdad and Samarra in Iraq.
Likely meaning we don't actually know because the city no longer exists and we haven't actually found it archaeologically.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to clarify that.
But based on what we know about it, all the different clues point to somewhere in this, like definitely not the Americas.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And definitely not in, say, India or like Japan.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. I think that was
Yes, that was a given already.
Right.
But I'm just saying, like, they can narrow it down even within the country to probably somewhere between these two cities somewhere.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So Hamath was a city, not to be confused with Hamas. Okay.
Right.
I'm saying Hamath.
Right.
Was a city on the Orontes in Syria.
I'm assuming that's a river.
It's a river. Very good.
Right.
The fall of the Hittite Empire during the Iron Age saw the Neo-Hittite Aramaean city of Hama named as the capital of one of the prosperous states known as Hamath, which traded extensively, particularly with Israel and Judah. Hama today is a city on the banks of the Orontes River in west central Syria. It is located 132 miles north of Damascus, and it is the provincial capital, city of Hama Governorate. Governorate?
Sure. I don't.
That word. Governorate?
Governorate. Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Governorate.
Yeah. With a population of 996,000 people, according to the 2023 census, Hama is the fourth largest city in Syria after Damascus.
Okay.
Aleppo and Horns.
Got it.
Okay.
Yep.
So it's one of those.
It's very populous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. Like, oh, okay. Hello, Bible-ish city. I see you.
Sure.
Okay, now Gath, that was the other one that was mentioned in that verse. Okay.
Yeah.
Gath was one of the 5 main cities of Philistia during the Iron Age. It was located in northeastern Philistia, close to the border of Judah. It was one of the last refuges of the Anakim in front of the conquering Israelites under Joshua.
Which was the giants.
The giants,
right?
Yeah. The Anakim were the halfy-halves, right?
Yeah.
The half-angel guys or something like that.
There was some tie-in with that, but it wasn't necessarily like they were just giant people.
Maybe.
Sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Gath was either subdued during the days of prophet Samuel or by King David, although the first book of Kings states that in the time of King Solomon, it was still ruled by a Philistine king named Ashish. Of course, King Ashish is mentioned as the ruler of Gath for the times of Saul, David, and Solomon, making it uncertain whether this refers to 2 or more kings of the same name.
I see.
Like, we don't know.
Yeah, that would be a long-serving king otherwise.
Right?
Yeah.
Gath was also the home city of the Philistine giant Goliath and his brothers.
Right.
As well as of Ittai Haggiti, one of King David's generals.
Okay.
And his 600 soldiers who aided the king in his exile from his son Absalom.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Like he was hiding amongst them.
He was.
Yeah.
David, while running from Saul, escaped to Gath and served under its king Ashish.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I forgot about that.
Right.
Cool.
Right.
So basically with this verse, Amos is saying you have no more reason to expect exemption from the consequences of your sins than they had. They've been punished and so will you. Why would you trust in their gods who could not even save their own cities?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Amos then asks if their neighbors' lands and lives are better than their own, that they would choose to worship the gods of the heathen and forsake Jehovah. And then Amos supplies an explanation of all the sins of which he reproves. He's like, you suck at this, you suck at those, you suck at these.
Right.
And then he attaches some awful threats, which, I mean, isn't anything new. He's always like, you suck so fucking much. And then it's like, and here's what's going to happen.
Right.
God's going to get you.
Yeah.
The upper class people live in luxury without any concern of consequences, what I was trying to say,
Sure.
for the injustice that is ruining the nation. When Israel is conquered, they will be the first in the group taken into captivity, is what he's saying.
Well, and that's usually true, right? Like, I mean, we've talked about this even with the Babylonian exile. Whoever conquers usually takes the brain trust first, or the rich and the powerful and the people who have skills and all that, because they usually take them in order to either enslave them or something, use them as collateral or whatever.
Right. Or if they can't do any of those, to do away with them altogether, because at the very worst case scenario, it leaves the city defenseless and stupid.
Leadershipless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like basically a chicken running around with its head cut off.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Amos states that the high-standing people in Israel will soon be brought low, and reminds them that other nations were stronger than Israel and other cities were more prosperous than Samaria, but even they still fell to enemy armies.
They must not have a very good God if there's all these other places that are more powerful than them. You know, that's the way I see it.
That's the way I would see it too.
Yeah.
I would be like, oh, they are?
Right?
Oh, they were?
Like, why aren't they you have the God as your God, right? Why aren't you guys the most powerful people out there?
Because God's not real.
Right.
All right, so let's move on to verse 5. You strum away on your harps like David and improvise on musical instruments.
I was confused about this at the time because I'm like, we're saying this as though it's a bad thing, right? But you're also comparing it to David, who was good. Right?
Yeah.
And so is it good or bad to play a harp?
Well, here's the thing. Both.
Oh,
okay? Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, let me read this. Well, no, I'll address your concern first. I was trying to think which would be better.
Sure.
Okay, so playing the instrument in and of itself is not a bad thing.
Okay.
But laying around eating grapes and fuck farting with, with art stuff. Like,
oh, okay.
He's not saying I have a problem with art. He's saying I have a problem with you fucking around and pretending nothing is wrong while you're doing art.
I see.
Okay?
Okay.
Now, having said that, some churches today use this specific verse, Amos chapter 6, verse 5, to justify banning musical instruments in worship services. However, when read in context, Amos's warning was directed at the complacent and prideful people of Israel and Judah who were enjoying leisure while forgetting God and disobeying his laws, which is basically what I said. Stop fucking around with your art.
Yeah, God forbid you have time to do leisurely activities that are fun
Again, but not while you're fucking over the poor. Not while there are starving people next to you.
I get it.
Not while you're owning slaves.
But at the same time, there is like this whole thing, like we say the Protestant work ethic, right?
Yes, we do.
Because they don't like the idea of art and leisure and like you must work hard for everything that you get in this life, right?
Like idle hands are the devil's tools or something like that.
Sure, but my consternation with that thought is that the idea that art and philosophical endeavors are not,
the humanities in general,
are not hard is bullshit.
No,
right?
Totally,
like,
totally.
I mean, I don't like this idea that the only way to work is to work and grind your way to, whatever you're doing. Like,
it's either to work physically or to use the one side of your brain. And there's a whole other side of your brain.
Right.
There's 3 ways to work. And you're saying that one of them doesn't count.
Well, and the problem is that this idea of hard work, quote unquote, right? Mm-hmm. The reason it gets such a grasp in society is because most people, this is how they do get ahead, right?
Yeah.
They work hard to make the money they make, and then they retire, and then that's their life.
And then they sell a planner saying how I planned my day and got where I got.
Sure. But I don't ever personally want to take away from people who do it in a creative manner.
Sure.
I think creativity is important for sparking so much in this world and in humanity in general. And I think that if we didn't support that as well, we are doing a disservice to our planet.
Well, there's a reason that music and creativity are taught to young children in order to stimulate their brain and to make them smarter.
Yeah.
Hi, can we keep that up maybe?
Sure.
We admit that it's a thing, but it's once you're 5 and start school, we're okay, you're about smart enough now.
Well, and those are the first things they cut out of school is the arts, right?
Yep.
Like the art classes, the music classes, things like that.
Yep.
And it's just, I have never, ever agreed with that line of thinking.
No, they should all be equally emphasized.
Right.
Honestly, well-rounded education includes the humanities, the hard sciences,
and the
both.
Arts. Yeah. Well, humanities. Yeah. Right. Yep.
Yeah. All right. So moving on to the next section of this chapter, we're going to talk about the coming destruction of Israel.
Okay. Yeah.
So Amos pictures the scene when the enemy lays siege to Samaria. The city is delivered to destruction and the people die in thousands because of famine and plague. Blah.
Yeah.
When a person comes to a house to take away the corpse of a relative to burn it up, the lone survivor in the house warns him, do not speak and certainly don't mention the name of Yahweh.
Because they're trying to hide from God.
Yeah. They do not want to attract God's attention in case he punishes them even more.
Yeah.
So basically, they realize that God himself is the one who sent this catastrophe. And this is confirmed by the oath of Jehovah.
Yeah, lots of people dying, superstitions abound, and so they're hiding from some imaginary being who they think is causing this.
Instead of hiding from the plague
right.
or what the fuck ever. Yeah.
Sure.
So Amos next particularly specifies the punishment of their sins by pestilence. The injustice and pride of Israel make it a target of judgment.
Because, murdering them is not enough. We got to go further than that.
Murder's
pestilence.
Fun, but it's not good enough.
Sure.
Amos further specifies the punishment of their sins by famine or a drought that should harden the earth so that it could not be tilled.
Right.
Okay, so let's move on to verse 12. Do horses run on the rocky crags? Does one plow the sea with oxen? But you have turned justice into poison and the fruit of righteousness into bitterness. And we kind of almost understood that, but not quite. We were what?
Yeah.
So this is what it's saying. A horse cannot run up a rocky cliff and a farmer cannot plow the sea. Obviously. Yet the people of Israel have done what seems equally impossible. So he was giving examples of impossible things and saying, you're trying to do something impossible, such as plow the sea.
I got
okay.
It. Yeah.
They have turned justice into injustice and right into wrong. They're living in the upside down. They made Trump president. I'm sorry. I keep going there, don't I? They have also foolishly boasted of their military strength because they have overrun 2 small towns. Womp womp. God tells them that he will send an army to overrun their whole country from north to south.
God told Amos. I'm just saying.
Well, God is telling Amos to tell them.
Right. No, that's what I'm saying. He didn't tell them. He told
Amos is saying, God told me to tell you this.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
I always like to clarify that because people always, when you're talking to somebody who is Christian or whatever, they're like, well, God told them to, like, no, but not exactly.
Right. Amos said that God told them.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And whether or not Amos was told by God, that's the part we're arguing about.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So verse 13 says, you who rejoice in the conquest of Lo-debar and say, did we not take Karnaim by our own strength? Mm-hmm. And we were like, I have no idea what any of that means.
Right.
Okay. So the name Lo-debar can be translated to mean nothing or no thing in Hebrew. It was likely a small, insignificant town in the region of Gilead. So the Israelites are sarcastically boasting about their conquest, quote unquote, of this teeny tiny place, which Amos highlights as meaningless or unimpressive. He's like, why are you bragging that you stepped on a fucking anthill?
Right.
Like, that's not even anything.
Well, and just to throw this out there, it's also meaningless to anybody reading this now.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
And this is the quote unquote word of God. This is the Bible. And one of my biggest questions about the Bible in general is, why do we learn about things like Lo-debar that have no significance to anybody today? And moreover, just the mere act of trying to interpret what that is for most people is going to be an exercise in futility, because it's such a nuanced thing that happened or occurred, right? And as we get further along in history, another 100, 200,000 years down the road, these things are going to be even more obscure and less relevant.
Right.
But yet we're supposed to take this as the word of God.
Okay. I totally 100% agree with you, but I think that argument is not best made by this example, because the name of the city is unimportant here.
I understand, but it makes that section somewhat unreadable, because you don't know exactly what they're talking about, and they don't really. If God is God, why hasn't it been updated in the last 500 years?
No, I totally agree with you.
To be more relevant to the people today, there should be some prophet out there that wrote down this new version of the Bible to be relevant to whatever is happening now.
I mean, we talked about being the new prophets.
No, but yet we're left with this idea of this book from 2,000, 3,000 years ago, and the stories that are, built into that book. These are canon. These are the things that we're supposed to accept as forever the word of God. And it just doesn't make any sense as to, like, some of the writing, some of this stuff just doesn't make any sense. Yeah. So that's all.
No, I totally agree. And you're right. It's a good question.
Yeah.
So that was Lo-debar, but what is Karnaim? Like, did we not take Karnaim by our own strength? Was the rest of that question?
Yeah.
Karnaim means horns. And in some translations, it actually says horns instead of Karnaim.
Oh, okay.
In Hebrew, symbolizing strength or power. It was another town located in Bashan, Og of Bashan, which was a region known for its wealth and strength. Taking Karnaim by force would be a more significant accomplishment, ... But the boast by our own strength shows their arrogance and failure to attribute their success to God.
Oh, I see. So they were able to do something greater, just they didn't give it to God.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Like, here's the thing. If you crush somebody weak, you're a piece of shit and it doesn't count. If you crush somebody strong, you're still a piece of shit because it wasn't you, it was God.
But if they weren't giving it to God, right? And they went to go conquer this town that was going to be stronger, in the past, God has made them fail because they didn't, bring God into it.
Yeah.
Why didn't he stop them from conquering that city? That if it's not a boast, if it's not something that, then why didn't God help them win over the Israelites that weren't accepting them?
Ours is not to question God.
No, actually, that's exactly what we're doing here.
I was being a Christian robot.
I know, but I'm just saying that our entire our podcast, this podcast,
right,
that's us. We're
to
questioning these things because why not?
I got a question for you.
Do you?
Preguntas.
Okay.
So anyway, that verse ties into the larger theme of Amos, which is a warning against arrogance, complacency, and ignoring God's justice. And thus concludes chapter 6. Okay. So chapter 7 now, is about visions of judgment and the power of the prophet's prayer. So the 7th, 8th, and 9th chapters of Amos contain visions and their explanations. So now we're going back to, visions and stuff.
Right.
In this chapter, God represents to Amos by 3 separate visions the judgments he is about to bring on Israel: the locusts, the fire or drought, and the plumb line. Remember those?
Yes, I do.
The visions are then, quote unquote, interrupted by a narrative about Amos and his listeners in Bethel. Remember, Amaziah's like, you need to leave, bro.
So fucking out of place.
Right?
Yeah. Before
they continue on with the visions in chapter 8.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but we're still in chapter 7. So let's read about that. Okay.
Yeah.
So, God's patience before judgment and judgment seen in 3 visions of destruction. And that happens in verses 1 through 9. Okay. Mm-hmm. So the first vision is a plague of locusts threatening to cut off the hopes of the harvest by attacking it in the time of the second growth. And the second growth means like they cut the first part off to give to the king and then keep the second one and then
so
whatever.
King gets his bit.
Regardless. Yeah. The first luxuries of the crop being mowed for the king's horses.
Right.
So it wasn't just the king, it was the king's horses.
And all the king's men?
Not the king's men. They get the second bit. Farmers paid their taxes by giving the king the first reaping of their harvest. After this, a second crop grew, which provided the main harvest for the people. And it was this second crop that Amos in his vision saw threatened with destruction from a plague of locusts, which we talked about earlier, that that is a very common event that happens in that area, even still today.
Right.
So not exactly a godly event.
Sure.
And very believable, actually, that this happened. Maybe not at this particular moment, but sure, anytime during those biblical times.
Right.
So if God judged Israel in this way, it might never recover. If those locusts came and ate up all the...
I see.
Yeah.
Except for that they have had locust attacks in the past. So, and they've managed to recover.
Right.
So.
But I mean, back then they had no idea, like, what's going to happen tomorrow if all of our fucking grains are gone.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I get it.
So when Amos pleaded on behalf of Israel for God's mercy, God answered his prayer, if you recall.
Yeah.
Okay, the next vision threatens a judgment by fire or drought, and it just depends on which interpretation you read.
Sure. Which
would consume a great part of the land. And we're going to read verse 4. This is what the sovereign Lord showed me. Remember, we were like, whoa, showed me? Yeah. My. Well, you upgraded. The sovereign Lord was calling for judgment by fire. Fire! It dried up the great deep and devoured the land. All right, so let's talk about that a little bit.
Okay.
Most translations associate the fire with a drought, like I said, although some take it to mean that God would permit war, both civil and foreign, to harass the land after the death of Jeroboam II.
I see.
Okay. So the third vision is a total overthrow of Israel, leaving it as it were by a line. So now we're moving on to the plumb line.
Okay. Yep.
When Amos saw the people as a whole persist in their sin, he knew that judgment could no longer be avoided. And as a builder tests a wall with a plumb line to see if it is straight, so God tests Israel according to his perfect standard to see if it is morally upright. And that's what the plumb line was for.
Does God actually have a perfect standard, though?
No, he does not.
I don't think so, yeah.
Not that I've been able to locate.
No,
this fucking book is so wishy-washy, topsy-turvy,
right?
Timey-wimey.
Yeah.
God finds that it is crooked beyond repair and must be demolished.
Of course he does.
Corrupt religion and corrupt administration have been the cause of the country's failure.
Always.
And these are things upon which the judgment falls most heavily.
Yeah.
Okay?
Because you're not worshiping your God enough.
Yeah.
He's jealous.
Basically.
He's pissed.
He mad. He big mad.
Yeah.
Bigly.
Right.
So verse 8 reads, "And the Lord asked me, 'What do you see, Amos?' 'A plumb line,' I replied. Then the Lord said, 'Look, I'm setting a plumb line among my people Israel. I will spare them no longer.'" So plumb line here appears to be intended as an emblem of strict justice, which we talked about earlier.
Got it.
And intimated that God would now visit them according to their iniquities by justice and without any mixture of mercy.
Okay.
Because, God is justified.
Yeah, right.
So, yeah,
Something
whatever
like
he does is justified.
Right.
Okay?
To him, anyway.
Yeah, of course.
Right. He's the only one that matters.
Sure.
Yeah.
So verse 9 then reads, "The high places of Isaac will be destroyed, and the sanctuaries of Israel will be ruined. With my sword I will rise against the house of Jeroboam." So the high place of Isaac was Beersheba. where Isaac had built an altar to the Lord back in Genesis chapter 26.
Okay.
And this high place, which had been abused to idolatrous uses, was demolished by Josiah, king of Judah, in 2 Kings chapter 23.
Okay.
Okay. So back in 2 Kings, the Lord had promised to Jehu, the ancestor of Jeroboam, that his family should sit on the throne of Israel to the 4th generation. Zechariah, the son of Jeroboam, was the 4th in order after Jehu, and onto him is where the threat of this verse fell.
Okay.
Because he was murdered by Shallum after he had reigned only 6 months.
Oh.
And in him, the family did indeed become extinct.
Oh.
So
dang.
There's a prophecy that kind of came true, I guess, whatever.
Sure, but again, you could always question when
it was written is what matters.
Or whether it was interjected after it was written. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many things that are going on in the Bible that it's hard to keep track of what was written when, who wrote it, whether or not it was inserted after the fact. You know, there's all these different things that happen.
Yeah.
So
totally.
I don't take a lot of it as gospel because I'm like, nah, I don't know.
Well, it's also kind of like, too, how a newspaper will print copies of newspapers for a win going either way.
Right.
Or used to before digital took over.
Yeah.
So that they were prepared to release newspapers for whichever team won the Super Bowl or whichever president won the election or whatever.
Sure.
Right. And they'd be ready to go because they had a newspaper for either possibility.
Right.
And so it strikes me that that's not exactly a new idea. These folks definitely could have had shit that was like, let's prepare this, and this to see what happens. And, you know, whichever one proves out, that's the one we'll go with.
Right.
So, I don't know.
Yeah.
Just putting that out there. So then we move on to the rest of the chapter, which is a denunciation of heavy judgments against Amaziah, priest of Bethel, who had brought an accusation against Amos to the king. Amos is expelled from Bethel, where he had been warning about the impending threat to the northern kingdom. Okay?
Right.
I think that's some of what we didn't necessarily pick up. Or I didn't pick it up anyway.
Okay.
So Amos has been walking around and talking about, y'all suck, y'all gonna burn up or whatever.
Yeah.
And Amaziah is like, why don't you go to that other kingdom? So this is a Judah versus Israel thing.
Right.
Which I did not pick up at the time.
Okay. But there's been other prophets who got in trouble for saying that they're going to get attacked too.
Yeah, totally.
So I mean, this isn't something new.
No.
And it goes back to the same idea where we talk about this is politics, basically.
Yep. So. Yep, definitely. Some theists consider it probable that Amos left Bethel in compliance with Amaziah's directives and withdrew to Judah, noting that the verb used here in Hebrew refers to fleeing one's home country to a foreign state, suggesting that Amos's hometown of Tekoa was in the Galilee of Samaria and not the Tekoa south of Jerusalem.
Okay.
So he might have went. Who knows?
Yeah.
Amaziah, the idolatrous, I have such a hard time with that word, the idolatrous priest who had been established by the king to maintain the worship of the golden calves, which Jeroboam the elder had set up at this place, heard Amos's preaching at Bethel and was furious that he so boldly denounced Israel's religious practices.
Right.
So he's like, excuse you? I'm the one telling religious stories here, not you.
Yeah.
So Amaziah planned to get rid of the unwelcome prophet by accusing him of treason because of his announcements of judgment on the royal house. So Amaziah went to the king and was like, excuse me, can we do something about this fucking prophet guy? He's like really getting in the way of my business.
Politics.
Right.
Yeah.
But the king apparently took no interest in the priest's accusations. So Amaziah therefore tried to persuade Amos to return to Judah, where people would welcome his prophecies against Israel and so pay him generously. See, I didn't get any of this. And that makes verse 14 make so much more sense. Verse 14 reads, Amos answered Amaziah, I was neither a prophet nor the son of a prophet, but I was a shepherd, and I also took care of sycamore fig trees. And we took that to mean that he was like, whoa, I'm not even a prophet. Like, I don't even work with these guys. I wasn't even there.
Right.
You know, like, I'm just telling you what God said.
Yeah.
But there's more to it. Amos replies that he's not a professional prophet and never has been. He's a common farmer whom God called to announce his message to Israel. And Amos is basically saying, I am an extraordinary messenger of God. I am not called to the prophetic office, but for this particular occasion. I have no message to Judah and therefore need not go there. I only have a message to Israel alone, and I must faithfully deliver it.
I see.
That's interesting, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay, I get it. He's like saying, you know, I'm not actually a prophet. I'm just here to deliver this one message, and you're telling me to go sell my story somewhere else, but my story isn't for them.
Right.
It's for y'all.
Yeah.
So that's interesting to me.
No, definitely.
So in addition, he has a message for Amaziah. Do you remember what it is?
I do not.
Your wife's a fucking whore, and your
That's
kids will
right.
die, and oh yeah, so will you.
Yeah, it was such a beautiful thing.
Right?
What?
Yeah. It was so like out of the blue. It was like I could get down with his message of, you know, I'm here to tell this story only for y'all. It doesn't apply to anybody else, so I'm not leaving. Like, that made sense. That was part of the Bible. Like, that's a great Bible story, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I'm down. Sure. And then he's like, and by the way, fuck you and your wife and your children and the horse you rode in on. Wait,
Right.
what? Calm your tits, bro. I was on board till you went there. So when Israel is eventually conquered, Amaziah's wife will become a prostitute for the enemy soldiers.
Oh.
His children will be killed.
Jesus.
And his land will be divided by the conquerors.
As says God.
Per God. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, what the fuck?
Right? And there's some question, some quote unquote scholars wonder if Amaziah's wife wasn't already an under the table prostitute because she was, you know, the wife of part of the uppity muck schmuck, you know, what is he? He's like a religious leader. He's a priest dude, right? Amaziah?
Oh, yeah, I think so.
And so
like
they're
the temple priestess or whatever,
Yeah,
something like that?
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So some scholars are like, she probably already was a prostitute, but the fact that, and that's kind of embarrassing enough, although maybe not because
of religious practices.
and their rights and all that.
Right, yeah.
But her being a prostitute to the enemy soldiers, that
bad.
changes
Right,
everything. Yeah. Because then, like,
then it has nothing to do with their
it's
God
not
or
a
anything.
choice.
Right.
She's not making a choice in it, and he's not making a choice.
Right.
So yeah, that's gross all the way around.
Sure.
And you know, your kids will die too is pretty not cool.
That's pretty awful.
So that concludes chapter 7, and we move on to chapter 8.
Okay.
So this chapter opens with a vision of a basket of summer fruit. Remember?
Yes, I do.
For like the ripe fruit, Israel nears its end.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about the rotting and corruption.
The time was ripe.
The time
for,
was ripe.
Israel's destruction. Yeah.
And you were like, I see what you did there. I understood that reference.
Yeah.
So Amos is given a fourth vision denoting the certainty and nearness of the destruction of Israel. Just as the harvest comes to an end and the fruit is gathered into baskets, so Israel has come to its end and will be punished. Celebration will be turned into mourning, and hope will be replaced by despair.
Right.
When the enemy attacks, the slaughter will be so extensive that bodies will lie unburied in the streets and fields for days. Let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the floor.
I mean, this is a very angry, destructive, murderous God that they have.
Let the bodies hit the floor.
I don't, it doesn't make, like, this is so contrary to what, you know, the New Testament God gets pushed as, right?
Yeah.
And I know things change, but this is still the God.
Yeah, it's the same God.
It's still the same God.
It's still Yahweh. It's still Jehovah.
You can't tell me it's not, because it's the same fucking book. You're saying this is your God.
Yeah. It's very cool. Love it. Love it. So Amos returns to conditions in Israel to indicate that one reason for the nation's downfall is, of course, as we've been saying this whole bit, the upper classes' dishonesty, their exploitation of lower classes, their cheating the poor, and their oppression and injustice, all of that stuff. They've been bad.
Yeah.
You know, eating grapes and, you know, laying on the couch with bonbons.
Right.
Okay. So verses 4, 5, and 6, I'm going to read here in succession here. Okay. Hear this, you who trample the needy and do away with the poor of the land, saying, when will the new moon be over that we may sell grain and the Sabbath be ended that we may market wheat, skimping on the measure, boosting the price and cheating with dishonest scales, buying the poor with silver and the needy for a pair of sandals, selling even the sweepings with the wheat. Remember all that?
Yeah.
So greedy merchants, annoyed that they must stop work whenever there is a religious holy day, can hardly wait for the holy day to pass so that they can get back to the job of making money.
Right.
Now, I don't know if you caught this, but they mentioned the new moon. They're waiting for the new moon to be over.
Okay.
That's not actually one of the, like, gaudy holidays. That's one of the people holidays.
Oh, okay.
So the celebration of the new moon was kept as a kind of holy day, not by divine command, but by custom.
Oh,
okay?
So it's like a pagan leftover.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Sabbath was strictly holy, and yet so covetous were they that they grudged to give to God and their own souls this seventh portion of their time.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, they don't do it anymore.
No.
Corporate America has got their foot in the door with regard to. Like,
I actually read a whole diatribe about that while I was studying this verse.
Yeah.
Not a problem anymore. And a lot of the Christians while I was studying this were going off about how people that keep their businesses open on Sunday, they're going to feel the pain later.
Yeah.
Everybody should be like Hobby Lobby and Chick-fil-A.
Look, I'm kind of torn about this, right? I don't believe in God.
Right.
In any way whatsoever.
I believe in a day off for humans.
Right.
Yeah.
And if it falls on a Sunday to appease, humans and people who have religious practices, who gives a fuck?
I don't give a fuck what the day is. Can we just have
it? It would be nice to have some of these like scheduled human days off, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for whatever reason, doesn't really matter. But like it's nice to have days that you can count on having off.
Right.
Period.
Yeah. I mean, we celebrate the family part of Christmas, if not the religious part of it. And we're glad for the day off.
Right.
But a lot of companies stay open even on Christmas Day now.
They do.
Which is just tragic to me because it's always the people at the bottom of the totem pole that get forced to work it. And yeah, I know they get time and a half and they don't have to and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, fuck off. If you're like a flat tire away from being homeless, you're going to work the time and a half on the holiday or double time and a half or what the fuck ever.
I think the richest and the highest up should be the ones that have to work at those places on the holidays.
Right?
Yeah.
Like you're the one that like can't quite get enough millions.
Right. So make them work in a store.
Yeah.
Make the CEOs go into freaking, corner lot place and run the register that day.
I think that would be like the greatest for their company. Like, wouldn't you like your company to be known as the nice one, not the one that exploits?
You know what? If I ran my own company and I wanted to stay open all the time, I think I would do something like that. Like if you're management with us, you're going to end up working that day by yourself. The people down from you, like I'll be working there with you.
Right.
Like, the people that are higher up in the chain, you're going to be working those days, not your people.
Yeah.
Let
people have a day of relaxation to be with their families and to celebrate with their children or the other children in their lives.
I know it's a novel idea.
Right?
But,
Jesus, it shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be.
Ugh. You mentioned the word grinding earlier, and that's all I can think. Just like hustle culture.
Oh,
always working, never not working.
No, I think relaxation is something that this world is trying to make extinct. So
So I just read about the new moon and how we still celebrate that even at Easter time. Yay!
Yep.
Moving on. The coming judgment will smash the sinful people like an earthquake and overthrow them like a flood.
No, I'm shocked.
Right?
Yeah.
So this is how God's going to judge Israel. Okay. Their doom is at hand. So verse 8 reads, "Will not the land tremble for this, and all who live in it mourn? The whole land will rise like the Nile. It will be stirred up and then sink like the river of Egypt." Now, some translations actually read, "And it shall ride up wholly as a flood, and it shall be rise up." Sorry, I said ride up, didn't I? "It shall rise up wholly as a flood, and it shall be cast out and drowned as by the flood of Egypt." It's just a slightly different wording, but kind of cool.
Sure.
So cast out and drowned or swept away and overwhelmed. Those are just different translations also that come into play. Okay. As the land adjoining the Nile is by it, when there is flooding, the Nile generally rises about 20 feet, which I think I had mentioned before. Yep. And then the waters cast out mire and dirt. So that's what they're saying.
Oh, there. Well, yeah. I mean, when you have a flooding river, it's going to bring some of that, silt and everything from the riverbed over to the places that normally don't have that, which is good for farming.
Yeah. So now I'm going to read verses 11 through 14 in succession here, okay? The days are coming, declares the sovereign Lord, when I will send a famine through the land, not a famine of food or a thirst for water, but a famine of hearing the words of the Lord. People will stagger from sea to sea and wander from north to east, searching for the word of the Lord, but they will not find it. In that day, the lovely young women and strong young men will faint because of thirst. Those who swear by the sin of Samaria, who say, as surely as your God lives, Dan, or as surely as the God of Beersheba lives, they will fall, never to rise again. Okay, and we were like, the fuck, what? Huh?
Right.
Like, we kind of understood the wording and we understood that there's going to be like a lack of prophets and a lack of ability to find any direction via God's words. But we were like, what is all this mention of all these places? I don't get it.
Yeah.
So this is not merely a physical darkness, but a spiritual darkness that's going to continue to cover the nation without even the small amount of light at present supplied by the prophets. In their mourning and distress, people will suddenly become hungry for God's word, but they'll not find it no matter how hard they search. Anyway, whatever. Samaria was one of the things mentioned. Samaria, the sin of Samaria. They worshipped Baal there. So that's why they mentioned that.
Okay.
And then, as surely as your God lives, Dan. And we were like, excuse you, Dan.
Right.
The golden calf was worshipped there. Okay. The representative of the Egyptian god Apis or Osiris.
Got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, as surely as the God of Beersheba lives. And we were like, what? That was another of the golden calves which Jeroboam had set up there.
Got it.
So
no wonder the tribe of Dan kind of became silent. They were probably the most they were one of the furthest away, so they probably were one of the first to change away from the traditional idea of Yahweh.
So with that, we close out chapter 8 and move into chapter 9. Okay. And we're coming up on the end here.
Okay.
Raising up the ruins. This is where we get into that whole remnant shit.
Got it.
Okay.
Yep.
And the final chapter here contains further visions and their explanations. Okay. So the first part of this chapter contains another vision in which God is represented as declaring the final ruin of the kingdom of Israel and the general dispersion of the people. And there are just so many questions about this stupid chapter because, like, what?
Yeah.
In the final vision, God causes a shrine to collapse on the heads of the worshipers. Do you remember that? He's like, hey, knock over that fucking pole and I'll take out the rest of the people that don't die with my sword.
Right.
So the picture is that of God's judgment on the people of Israel because of their false religion. So that's why he's specifically saying, knock over the pole of that building.
Got it.
The church building.
Okay.
Like it's both symbolic and very specific.
Got it.
Okay. In verse 1, there's different interpretations of it, of course. One says, I saw the Lord standing by the altar, and he said, strike the tops of the pillars so that the thresholds shake. Bring them down on the heads of all the people. Those who are left I will kill with the sword. Not one will get away, none will escape. And we were like, oh, gross.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, another way it can be read is strike the doorposts that the thresholds may shake and break them on the heads of them all and cut them in the head is another way of even reading it.
Okay.
I will slay the last of them with the sword. Okay. So we've got all these different translations. Now, this is a continuation of the preceding prophecy. The altar here being likely one of those either at Dan or Beersheba.
Okay.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Which that kind of, okay, we get it. Got it. Okay. It's one of the bad places, the high places.
Sure.
What he's saying is let all the lintels of all the doors of all those temples be thus cut as a sign that the whole shall be thrown down and totally demolished. Okay, that's one way of reading this.
Okay.
Like, we're going to knock down all of these fucking religious places that are being abused and used wrong.
Sure.
Okay, another way to read this is that this may refer to their heads, the head guys, the chiefs. Okay. Who were principals in these transgressions because they were the ones leading everybody. So he's saying, mark their temples, their priests, their prophets, and their princes for destruction.
Got it.
So it may have been like a, cross on their forehead kind of thing. Like they've got the X, knock them out.
Right.
So it's hard to know which way it was going, you know?
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on to verse 5. The Lord Almighty, he touches the earth and it melts, and all who live in it mourn. The whole land rises like the Nile, then sinks like the river of Egypt.
And there we go with the river of the Nile raising 20 feet. And,
Miles.
Oh, sorry. My bad. Yeah.
But the important part there that we were like, huh? Was that he touches it and it melts.
Yeah.
Like, the fuck?
That's weird.
So, okay. So powerful is he that a touch of his hand will melt or dissolve the land and cause all its inhabitants to mourn.
Yeah.
This is, of course, still a reference to the earthquake previously discussed.
Oh, okay.
So, some Israelites might object that this could not happen to them because, they're Israelites.
Yeah,
and they're like, the fuck? I'm one of God's chosen people, right?
Right.
Because they are God's chosen people. He brought them out of Egypt, and he would not send them into a foreign country again. Amos points out that past blessings are not a guarantee of present safety. God directed the movements of other nations, not just Israel, but when people are sinful, he will punish them regardless of their nationality.
I am curious, though, because God says often that he won't do this again to them.
Right.
Like, it's a thing.
I know.
Right? And then bad shit keeps happening.
I know.
So
he's like, I'll never do it again unless then I did it again.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So in this matter, Israelites have no advantage over people of other nationalities, such as Ethiopians, Philistines, or Syrians. God will destroy Israel, but he will preserve the minority within Israel who are faithful to him and remain so.
That's nice of him, I guess.
Right. Through these, he will fulfill his purposes.
I don't really know what his fucking purposes are.
They're not yours to know.
They seem really shitty.
They're not yours to know.
I don't know that I want to know that.
I get so tired being the Christian robot. It's not yours to know.
Yeah.
You are not to ask. You cannot understand. You are a mere human worm.
Yes.
Okay, so verse 7 reads, Are not you Israelites the same to me as the Cushites, declares the Lord? Did I not bring Israel up from Egypt, the Philistines from Caphtor, and the Arameans from Ker? And we were like, what the fuck are all these place names again?
Right,
and who and why?
Why should we care?
I have to look all these things up, okay?
Yeah.
So, the Ethiopians, our translation reads, Are you Israelites the same to me? Are not you Israelites the same to me as the Cushites? But in other translations, it actually reads, Are you not the same to me as the Ethiopians?
Okay.
So the Ethiopians are the Cushites.
Got it.
Okay. So that's what that is.
Sure.
Cush was the son of Ham, mentioned back in Genesis chapter 10.
Sure.
And his descendants inhabited parts of Arabia. And all this stock was universally despised. And I love how we're referring to a man and his descendants as stock.
Yeah.
His stock was all despised.
Right.
Like his people, his family, his descendants, they were despised.
Yeah.
But no, his stock.
Right.
Okay. The Philistines, I always get that wrong, from Caphtor, this was the island of Crete off of Greece.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the Syrians from Ker is perhaps a city of the Medes, which would be kind of nearish Greece-ish.
Right.
So Aram, from whom Syria had its name, was the son of Shem, again, hearkening back to Genesis chapter 10.
Sure.
Some of his descendants settled in this city and some in Aram Naharaim, Syria of the two rivers. Okay, that's what that meant.
Yeah.
Which is to say Mesopotamia. And that included the land between the Tigris and the Euphrates.
Got it.
Which is the Fertile Crescent.
Yep.
I learned that in 5th grade and it never left. So the meaning of this verse is, do not presume on my having brought you out of the land of Egypt and the house of bondage into a land flowing with milk and honey. Don't presume on that, even though that's what I did or whatever.
Right.
I have brought other nations and some of your neighbors who are your enemies from comparatively barren countries into fruitful territories, such, for instance, as the Philistines from Caphtor and the Syrians from Ker.
Okay.
So that's interesting way of looking at it.
He's claiming that he brought other people. And, which he never really talks about that.
Right.
So
that's why this was like a really interesting way of reading that. And I'm like, oh, is that what you think?
Well, and it would indicate to me that the Exodus would have been something that would have happened in some indeterminate time in the past, right? Because you're talking, because basically all history says that the Israelites are from the place where Israel is, right? But maybe some ancient time ago, people migrated from this area to that area, and it was just one of those like stories that got passed down and became lore, right? And that sounds more like what this is based off.
Like a big flood becomes the earth is flooded,
right? And based on how much they talk about the Nile and things like that, maybe this stuff was from like those time frames, right? Like when they were like thousands of years before they even started writing Bible stuff. Maybe there was certain people that lived in that area that ended up migrating to where Israel is now. Yeah. And, these flood stories and migration stories all kind of came with this package deal of moving from there to here.
Right. Well, it kind of strikes me similarly, like these were originally oral tales.
Right. Well, and that's...
They weren't written down until like way later, even. And when they were written down is like thousands of years ago, right?
Sure.
So kind of crazy. And it kind of reminds me of like Beowulf and how that was also like, that's one of the earliest forms of written literature.
Yeah.
Right. And it was originally, of course, an oral tale, and we are only reading one version of that story.
Right.
And so obviously this will have had many different oral versions of the story.
Oh, for sure. And we know that there are actually.
Right.
So.
Which is what makes it so funny that Christians are like hardcore. This is it.
Yeah. Right.
And not only this one, but the King James version, which was printed in the 1500s.
And is probably the most incorrect version of all of the versions.
Like, I'm sorry that it sounds really fancy with its Shakespearean stuff, but you don't even like King James or Shakespeare.
Yeah, like if you did even the least bit of like history digging, right? You'd be like, wait, what? What are we doing here?
Why am I sucking the dick of this guy? Hold on a sec. Like, that one confounds me, honestly.
Right? Yeah.
All right, so Amos gives a final picture of the certain judgment that is to fall on the sinful Israelites, as no pebble or other worthless matter falls through a sieve, so no sinner will escape God's judgment. If people think that because they are Israelites that they will not experience God's judgment, they are only deceiving themselves. All right, we are cruising into the last bit here, all right?
Okay.
So we're getting into the restoration of Israel to blessing and abundance. And there's some stuff in here that's going to blow your fucking mind.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
So the prophet then passes to the great blessedness of the people of God under the gospel dispensation. Excuse you? Gospel? That's New Testament. Right. I'm sorry. What the fuck? Yeah. So we'll talk about that. Okay.
All right.
So we're going to talk about the restoring of the house of David to Israel.
Okay.
Now, beyond judgment, Amos sees God's forgiveness. Captivity in a foreign land will bring to an end the old division between the northern state of Israel and the southern state of Judah. God will bring the reunited people back into their land.
Never happened, but okay. All right.
Oh, hold on. I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
Where they will live in security and prosperity under the rule of the restored Davidic dynasty. Israel's rule will extend over other nations, here represented by Edom.
Sure.
So,
and this is one of those prophecies that is yet to be
fulfilled.
Done.
Yeah.
So it's one of those that's very prominent.
Oh, it's so magic.
Christianity and Judaism and all of this. So.
Oh, it's beautiful magic.
Right.
Very magic.
Yeah.
Okay. Because it's going to happen, you guys. It's proof of Jesus.
It's like a lot of what the whole fucking New Testament Christianity is based on.
It's a very, like, have you ever seen those rock piles where like there's a giant rock resting on a smaller rock resting on an even smaller rock, and then like these are like serene balances or something. And then at the very bottom, it's all sitting on this teeny tiny pebble.
Right.
Right. And it's balanced just so. And if you cough crooked, it falls.
Yeah.
That's what this is.
Yeah.
This is that fucking pebble. Okay. So verses 11 and 12 read, "In that day, I will restore David's fallen shelter. I will repair its broken walls and restore its ruins, and will rebuild it as it used to be, so that they may possess the remnant of Edom and all the nations that bear my name, declares the Lord, who will do these things." He will.
Okay.
So, like I said, Israel's rule will extend over other nations, here represented by the word Edom. We just decided that. Okay.
Got it, yeah.
So Edom is rendered mankind in the Septuagint.
Oh, okay.
So
right.
I don't know why and who decided that sometimes when we say Edom, we don't actually mean the Edomites. We actually mean mankind.
Got it.
But the Greeks did, I guess.
Okay.
And sometimes we go with that.
Sure.
Okay. So we know that the kingdom of Israel fell first and that the kingdom of Judah continued long after, enjoying prosperity and comfort under Hezekiah and Josiah. The remnant of the Israelites that were left by the Assyrians became united to the kingdom of Judah. But this comparatively short prosperity and respite previously to the Babylonish captivity could not be that, quote, restored Davidic dynasty that was referred to.
Could not.
That's why I said could not.
No, I know. I was just like, why though?
Because the Davidic dynasty was not restored.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Like it cannot because it was not.
Got it. Okay.
And it could also not be the closing up of the breaches because the land was still split.
Okay.
Judah and Israel were still not together.
Got it.
And since it is acknowledged that nothing of the sort has taken place since, consequently, getting into what you were just saying, most Christians agree that the prophecy remains to be filled in the time to come, which is to say, Christians take this exact text as solid proof that the Jews will eventually be converted and restored. Converted to Christianity.
And this is why we have this love-hate relationship with Israel right now.
And I had to write under this, the very arrogance is fucking astounding.
Yeah.
Because I'm, using a Christian source alongside of a Jewish source as I'm researching. Right. And the Christian source is like, and this is a fact that this will happen. And I was just like, I'm sorry, what?
Is it now?
I have never heard Jewish people say, oh yeah, totally. We're totally going to be converted at some point.
Right.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to the day when I take Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior. What? Like, I'm just like, do the Jewish people know this? Did we talk to them about this? What do they think about this?
Yeah.
Like, I literally, if you know any Jewish people, please ask them to, like, call in. If you're a Jewish person listening, please comment. Let me know. Like, are you aware of this? How do you feel about this?
Right.
I was not aware that Jewish people were, like, eagerly waiting with bated breath for the coming of Jesus Christ.
Right.
All right. So moving on to verse 13. The days are coming, declares the Lord, when the reaper will be overtaken by the plowman and the planter by the one treading grapes. New wine will drip from the mountains and flow from all the hills and will bring my people Israel back from exile. And we were like, what the fuck are you even talking about?
Right.
Makes no goddamn sense. Yeah. Like you said, don't fear the reaper. Yeah. So here's what it is. The land will become so motherfucking productive that grain will grow faster than the farmers can even harvest it. Okay. The reaper will not be able to finish his work before the next planting is due.
Oh.
So Amos is predicting great fertility in the land, abundance in the crops, and regularity of the seasons, indicating that the plowman, sower, grape gatherer, and wine press operator will not only succeed each other, but will have parts of these operations going on at the same time.
I see.
Cities will be rebuilt and the people will live in happiness and safety.
It sounds so wonderful.
It's milk and honey, baby.
Yeah, right?
All right, finishing up. Verse 14, they will rebuild the ruined cities and live in them. They will plant vineyards and drink their wine. They will make gardens and eat their fruit. Which, if you read Voltaire's Candide, there's a bit about gardens in there, and if you know, you know.
Okay.
Anyway, when threatened with great evils, Amos chapter 5, verse 11, it said, they shall plant pleasant vineyards, but shall not drink the wine of them. So they would be planting and planting and planting, but not be able to like appreciate the fruit of their labor.
Right.
But that was back then. Now, in this restoration that's going to happen, they will be laboring for themselves rather than for others, and they will be able to enjoy it. And that's so like
just wonderful.
A mirror of where they were before to where they will be in this day when we convert the Jews to Christianity. The end.
Awesome. Yeah. God's going to kill, and then everything will be wonderful.
But Jesus, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's all going to be solved.
Yeah, I'm very excited. I really want to know if the Jews are aware of this plan.
Right? Yeah.
Like, literally, I've never heard. Have you ever heard of this?
Yeah.
That Jews are going to be converted to Christianity?
Well, yeah, all Christians think that.
I didn't know that.
I mean, like, at some base level, yeah. Like, they're either going to be converted or they're part of the heathens that are going to go, to hell.
No, I always heard that they are the exception. They're God's chosen people, and God will work that out somehow.
No.
That's what my mom says.
Oh, yeah, they're God's chosen people. But they better fucking convert or they're fucking roasting like the rest of us.
I never heard that part of the sentence.
Oh.
I only ever got...
Yeah, that part's usually conveniently left out.
Okay, so God's chosen people are not actually chosen unless they convert.
No, they're chosen all right.
They're chosen
to make a choice. And if they don't make the right choice, they're fucked.
I don't know if I agree with you on that. I don't know. I want to hear from some Jewish people. I'm like lit up over this.
The Jewish people wouldn't be talking about this. This is Christians talking about this.
I know, but this is their book, so I want to hear from them. I don't give a fuck about the Christians.
They don't know or care what a Christian wants them to do.
But I want to know, like, are you aware of this plan and how do you feel about it?
Okay.
That's all.
That's fair. All right. Well, anyway, that was our Q&A for chapters 6 through 9 of Amos. Mm-hmm. And we will be back probably tomorrow with the
wrap up.
Yeah. The one you were so excited about earlier.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, that one.
That was like 5 hours ago.
Right. And then after that, we will have our...
You're always wrong.
Okay.
Along with a pop quiz.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then I will get the weekly replay up, and then we'll be back starting another book after that.
Which I forget already. It was Obadiah, one chapter.
Yeah.
So and so we might have like our final Jewish folklore thrown in there for good measure.
We say that sometimes, but it doesn't.
I know.
We'll do things.
We'll do some things.
We're gonna record stuff.
And we are going to record stuff.
Yeah.
Yes.
That much we know. Mm-hmm. All right.
Very professional.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Hey, wife, I guess that's the end?
But husband, that's just sad.
It doesn't have to be. We are on lots of social media platforms like Twitter. Our handle there is sacrilegious_D.
For D's nuts.
Oh my God. Stop doing that. Anyway, we're also on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest. There's a link to all of our social media sites at our website.
Ooh, we have a website?
Yeah, it's sacrilegiousdiscourse.com, where you can also find a link to our merch shop.
We have a merch shop?
Yep. We have podcast-themed clothing, mugs, notebooks, and more, as well as an atheist and science-themed products.
Wow, our fans should really go check that out right now.
Definitely. They can get in touch with us by sending an email to sacrilegiousdiscourse@gmail.com. But before they do that, we could really use some help.
Oh yeah? With what?
Well, it's not free running the podcast, and we need some financial support in order to get better equipment, which will free up time so we can concentrate on our podcast and our fans.
Okay, so what should they do?
Head over to patreon.com/sacrilegiousdiscourse and sign up as a contributor on our podcast. Supporters there receive additional bi-weekly episodes that we record just for our Patreon members for as little as $2 a month.
Also, we'd really appreciate it if you would like and subscribe on whatever platform you're using.
And Apple Podcast reviews help us out tremendously.
Like and subscribe. Leave an Apple review. Join us on Twitter. Support us on Patreon. That's a lot of instructions. Don't forget to say thanks.
Thanks.
Okay, bye.